Hi, I'm Ray. I've spent years deep in the trenches of China's supply chain integration business. Welcome to China Pathway. Today, we're decoding Beijing, not the political capital you read about in the news, but the Beijing that 17 of America's most powerful CEOs flew halfway across the world to see with their own eyes. While the media focused on Boeing jets and soybean deals, these CEOs were looking at something completely different. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Let's start with what the media reported. When President Trump touched down in Beijing in May 2026, WATH, the richest ever trade delegation, headlines screamed about a 200-aircraft Boeing deal and a $17 billion agricultural package. The chip export control deadlock? Still unresolved, they said. But behind those public agreements was a deeper story, one hidden in plain sight. Take a look at the seating arrangement at the Great Hall of the People Banquet. 3 round tables. On the first table, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, Cristiano Amon of Qualcomm, and Sanjay Mehrotra of Micron. That's the chip table. Table 2, Tim Cook of Apple, Elon Musk of Tesla, and a Boeing executive, the manufacturing table. Table 3, David Solomon of Goldman Sachs, Jane Fraser of Citigroup, Stephen Schwartzman of Blackstone, the capital table. 3 tables, 3 self-contained supply chain ecosystems. This wasn't protocol, this was a signal. But what the cameras didn't capture is even more revealing. Let me give you 3 signals. Signal 1, Tim Cook arrived in Beijing a day early. He didn't fly on Air Force One. Just over a month earlier, he had already been the foreign co-chair of the China Development Forum. Apple's Greater China revenue just hit $25.5 billion, a single quarter record, up 38% year-on-year. Over 86% of Apple's top 100 global suppliers have production bases in China. Cook wasn't just visiting, he was stabilizing his supply chain and doing it ahead of the official agenda. Signal 2, after Trump left Beijing, Jensen Huang stayed behind. He was spotted on Nanluguxiang eating Jiajingmian, grimacing at a cup of dojere and giving a thumbs up to a Mishu Bingcheng ice cream. That casual stroll sent a message louder than any press release. Tech collaboration doesn't stop when the motorcade leaves. NVIDIA has over 3,000 ecosystem partners in China, spanning AI training, autonomous driving, and robotics. The gesture was soft, but the signal was hard. The relationship is far from over. Signal 3. The CEOs left Beijing, but the lines stayed wide open. On May 14th, China's top economic officials, NDRC, Ministry of Commerce, CSRC, held intensive bilateral meetings with the visiting CEOs. 2 new mechanisms were announced: the U.S.-China Trade Council and the U.S.-China Investment Council. The new official framing? Cooperation-led, competition measured, differences manageable, peace foreseeable. That's not a slogan, that's a roadmap. So the question is, what exactly were these CEOs looking at when the cameras were off? Let's decode the real Beijing through 6 supply chain lenses. First, the big picture. Beijing's AI core industry is projected to hit 450 billion yuan in 2025, home to over 2,500 AI enterprises. 212 large language models are registered here, more than any other city in China. Over 40% of China's top-tier global AI scholars are in Beijing. The integrated circuit industry has already surpassed 248 billion yuan, and the intelligent connected vehicle cluster in Yizhuang is approaching 300 billion. This isn't one industry, it's an entire ecosystem. Let's start with the chip layer, the foundation, Cambricon. Self-developed MLU architecture. The first Chinese company to cover AI chips from cloud to edge to endpoint. Over 2,000 patents. Market cap? Empetratis, Empatpulu 3 billion yuan. They just turned their first annual profit, 6.5 billion yuan in revenue. In the domestic AI inference market, they're a top-tier supplier to national computing centers and government IT projects. More threads. The only domestic GPU maker that's mass-producing both AI compute and 3D graphics rendering chips. Revenues surged 243% year-on-year. Their next-gen GPU is now fully compatible with Alibaba's Qwen and DeepSeek models. They landed a 660 million yuan intelligent computing cluster order. That's a growth story that Silicon Valley is watching closely. Kunlun Chip, Baidu's in-house AI chip arm, shipped over 116,000 units, tied for third place in domestic AI chip share. It's the computing backbone of Baidu's entire large model ecosystem. Horizon Robotics, automotive-grade AI chips. Their joint venture with Volkswagen's Cariad called Cambricon is already shipping domain controllers for mass-produced Volt W models starting late 2025. This is foreign engineering meets local silicon, live in production. And the broader IC landscape? SMIC's Beijing fab, Nora's semiconductor equipment with 99.2% packaging yield, Lungsun's proprietary CPU architecture, GigaDevice's memory chips, Chapone's display drivers. Nearly 400 chip-related enterprises in Yizhuang alone, growing at 28.7% annually. This is not just a chip industry. This is a chip fortress, but one that still needs global partners. Now, move up to the model layer. Zhipu AI, listed in Hong Kong, market cap once over 500 billion Hong Kong dollars. Their GLM 5.1 model just ranked #1 globally among open-source coding agents. Their MaaS platform ARR hit 1.7 billion yuan, a 60x increase year-on-year. When the world's first listed LLM company is open-sourcing its best models, global developers pay attention. Moonshot AI, creators of Kimi, long context pioneer, 200,000 token windows. Just closed a $2 billion Series D at a $20 billion valuation. Meituan, China Mobile, CPE, all in. They're widely expected to be preparing for a US or Hong Kong IPO. And Doubao, from ByteDance, 172 million monthly active users. The most used native AI application in China. That's the traffic gateway every AI company dreams of. In total, Beijing's LLM ecosystem is a 3-tier matrix: general models, vertical models, and super agents, stacked on top of a domestic computing cluster with over 100,000 GPU cards. Haidian District alone hosts 16 of the national AI top 50. Now, let's go to the future tracks. Embodied AI GalaxyBot built the world's largest 10 billion level embodied intelligence dataset. They raised 2.5 billion yuan at a 20 billion valuation. Their production line is already running inside Tan El Xiaomi's Superfactory 718,000 square meters. Over 700 robotic arms, key processes 100% automated is both making cars and developing humanoid robots. Lingyi iTech is planning 10,000 unit annual robot assembly capacity this year, scaling to 500,000 by 2030. They already have ODM orders from North American AI and robotics companies. And Star Dynamics just took strategic investment from Samsung and Singtel. Zhutaosen's Sexsun Zwanzig has already seen over Zwanzig billion yuan in domestic embodied AI financing, and Haidian firms are taking the lion's share. Commercial space. South Arrows, North Stars, Yizhuang's Rocket Avenue hosts Land Space, whose Zhupdu's Methalox rocket achieved the world's first consecutive successful launches and China's first reusable orbital launch verification, IPO under review. Galactic Energy, iSpace, both in IPO counseling. Galaxy Space is building LEO broadband satellite constellations. Over 300 commercial space companies in Beijing, and in 2025, the city achieved the world's first instantaneous space-ground human-machine connectivity. That's not sci-fi. That happened here. Intelligent connected vehicles. Xiaomi EV, factory the size of a palace, delivering over 20,000 vehicles a month. Li Auto, over 1.5 million cumulative deliveries. BAIC's Stellato brand, co-developed with Huawei's HarmonyOS Smart Mobility, is a case study in how traditional automakers leap into intelligent driving. SemiDrive, over 8 million automotive chips shipped, covering 100+ models. Cambricon, the VW Horizon JV, is now in mass production. Yizhuang alone hosts 120+ companies across the entire vehicle road cloud chain. Beijing's total auto production capacity in 2026? Over 1.65 million units. And where does all this innovation live? Haitian's 2 zones, 1 belt. The AI Origin Community by PKU and Tsinghu, the AI Byway Community in Shangdi for pilot testing, and the 9-kilometer Century Jingzheng AI Innovation Belt. Yizhuang New Industry City, where IC, ICV, embodied AI, and even 6G AI testing converge in a single zone. Beijing literally opened its urban planning to global proposals for this. They want the world to co-build it. So why Beijing? The answer is in 3 pillars. First, policy certainty. Those targeted meetings during the summit, the dedicated 15th five-year plan briefings for foreign investors, Beijing isn't waiting. It's paving the road. Second, innovation density. National labs, Huiru mega science facilities. Tsinghu's State Key Lab base, the highest concentration of research platforms in China. Over 40% of the country's elite AI talent is right here. Third, capital hub. The securities regulator, the Foreign Exchange Authority, policy efficiency is unmatched. And the Beijing Stock Exchange is the dedicated liquidity platform for innovative SMEs. For global partners, Beijing offers something no other city can, a full-stack AI ecosystem, from chips to models to applications, in one city. Talent density that rivals any innovation hub on Earth, predictable policy, and multiple annual windows, Zhongguancun Forum, CIFTIS, China Development Forum, to meet both policymakers and supply chain players face-to-face. Let me make this practical. Where can you plug in? Entry point 1. AI compute and chip supply chain. Beijing's AI chip firms, Cambricon, Threads, Kunlun, Horizon, are not closed shops. They're actively seeking joint architecture R&D, algorithm co-optimization, and shared access to third markets like Southeast Asia. If you run data centers, cloud services, or autonomous driving fleets, these are your potential partners. Entry point 2. Large models going global. Zhipu's open-source GLM models are already infrastructure for developer communities worldwide. Build localized apps on top of them, co-market them, build developer ecosystems together. Moonshot and Doubao are opening the same doors. Entry point 3. Embodied AI and core components. Yizhuang's Sepalou Ribu unit annual robot capacity needs servo motors, harmonic reducers, Tiga-D vision sensors, tactile sensors, edge AI modules. GalaxyBot, Lingyi, iTech, Xiaomi, they're all sourcing and scaling. Global robot OEMs and automation providers take note. And there's a fourth lane, intelligent connected vehicles. From automotive-grade chips with semi-drive to co-developed ADAS domain controllers with Carazon, from vehicle assembly with Xiaomi and Li Auto to smart cockpit integration with BAIC and Huawei, the Yizhuang ecosystem is ready for collaborative integration. So here's the real takeaway. The media saw deals, Boeing planes, agricultural purchases. Those are transactions. The CEOs saw structure, 6 interconnected supply chains, from silicon to satellites, all co-located in one city. That is a system. What you should see is the window. Under the 15th five-year plan, Beijing's trillion-yuan industrial cluster planning is actively releasing collaboration opportunities for global partners. Not in 5 years, right now. Which Chinese city do you want us to decode next? Which tech company, or which specific supply chain? Drop your request in the comments below. I read every single comment. The topic you suggest could very well become our next deep dive analysis. I'm Ray, and this is China Passway, bringing you the real landscape of China's supply chains. If you found this video valuable, send me a direct message and I'll share the complete enterprise list from this episode with you for free. No copyright restrictions, use it as you wish. See you in the next city.